Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Today, we're going to talk about applying for jobs in the UK, the job market, and how our culture works with regards to finding work. Well, the first thing I can tell you is that unlike some countries, the UK moves very fast when trying to get people into employment. As soon as you complete that application form and send it away, within perhaps even hours, you'll get an acknowledgement to say it's been received. Well, usually that's how it works. And then you may be called for an interview within 2 or 3 days. If you get the job offer comes through very quickly, although it does depend a little bit on the industry. If you're working in, for example, the food industry or some kind of customer-facing job, you will find that the application goes very quickly. Within a week, maybe 10 days, you'll be there and you'll be working there if you get the job. The reason for this is because Britain is a very capitalist country and we need to keep the economy going. So replacing people who leave, especially in cities like London, has to happen very, very quickly. Otherwise, the company might stop or might not be able to produce what it is creating or producing. If you really want work very, very quickly, the easiest thing to do is to register with a temporary work agency. The good thing about them is they obviously have more contacts than you do with companies. They will quickly assess your skills, process you. They might even have their own in-house English checking service, and they will also maybe ask you to do a few jobs on the computer just to assess you. And again, within hours, you could find yourself being asked to attend a company the next day. You're technically working for the temping agency. However, you'll be sent to a company on their behalf. And of course, if that company likes you, they may employ you directly, taking you away from the temping agency. The good thing about working for temporary agencies is you have a lot of freedom. You can come and go, you can specify the hours that you want to work, but of course you have to be very, very flexible. When you first move to a new city, finding a job agency near you would be a very good idea, or even registering online. One of the biggest difficulties that we have in the UK is because we don't carry ID cards, you will be asked to identify yourself by proving who you are, perhaps being asked to prove where you live, and maybe the most difficult thing is when they ask you for job references. So, for example, you move from Spain to the UK and they say, okay, we want a reference from your last employer. And this can be difficult. What if your last employer doesn't speak English? What if your last employer is not contactable? There's a lot of issues there that you'd have to overcome. The best thing to do is to be completely honest with the agency. They deal with lots and lots of people. You won't be the first person not to be able to provide a work reference. But the second reference they ask you to provide will be from a friend or family member, someone who's known you for a little while, and that is equally disturbing. We often live in a world where we just don't know anyone except having maybe online contacts, and this is a very difficult thing when it comes to giving references. The best thing to do is to offer the agency a reference from when you were living in your previous country, or ask an old employee, a friend of yours to give a reference. If the agency insists that the reference must be in the UK, it's going to be kind of difficult because usually they ask for a reference that has known you for 2 years. That could be an English school, an English teacher, it could be anyone, a university lecturer, a college lecturer. But if you really don't know anyone, just be completely honest with them because they might be able to overlook it for you. So let's look at some scenarios. You fill in an application form online, you send it off. Immediately, the system should send you a response to say it's been received. The next stage is to be called for an interview, and then, of course, if you're successful, it moves on to the next stage. And you should be receiving something really quickly, depending on exactly the job you're applying for. If you're going to an agency, it's the same process, and it might even be quicker because, of course, they know many contacts and agencies want to earn their money. In the UK, to register with a job agency and to get work through a job agency doesn't cost you anything. It's completely free. And, if nothing else, it's good practice for your English. So imagine the scenario. You land in the UK one day, you start looking for work the next, you're walking in the street and you see some job agencies. There's a very famous one here called Pertemps. There's another one called Reed Employment. These are very good. They'll quickly assess your skills, take your documents, and get you sorted and set up. But remember, you'll need to have to prove who you are a little bit. About job interview questions, agencies and employers, of course, they want to know a little bit about your background. It can be very nervous going for a job interview for the very first time. But you must remember that employers deal with many, many people every day. They also have different interviews with different people from around the world. So you've no reason to be nervous. But you should be very, very confident because if you show them any weaknesses, for example, bad English, then of course it's not going to look very good. So if they say, so what's your English level? You can say, well, I go to English classes every day. I go to English classes twice a week. So you're showing them the solution to the problem. You're not showing them the problem itself. Likewise, if they ask you questions like hobbies and pastimes, be sure to choose ones which show that you are a team player and you like to get involved with people. This is your big chance at a job interview to show people who you are, and that's really very, very important. You might be surprised when you come to the UK, when you start work for a company, you won't be the only person there that has English as a second language. The UK is very diverse, and no matter what job you do, at whatever level, you can expect to find people who are very different from you and from your colleagues. Some people think that working in the UK is working with a bunch of white people with perfect English. You might be very surprised to find that in that same office or in that same factory, you're surrounded by people whose English might be worse than yours. A lot of people don't realise that the UK is very, very diverse, and the workplace is equally diverse. This is a good thing because you're all coming together to do a job, but some cultures make it easier than others. And everyone has their own aims and ambitions. So if you're coming to the UK, come with a very open mind because you don't know what's about to happen. But one thing I can tell you is that employers are so accustomed, same with agencies, so accustomed to dealing with people from other countries. You're not the first and you won't be the last to walk through their doors. I hope this has been helpful. See you soon. Bye.